Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I have a clip for you from Judge Rossi. He has two women in his courtroom that are fighting over one man, and boy, do they ever. And this is actually in regards to a PPO violation, this hearing here, but neither of them care about any PPO. So there's that. I'll let you guys watch.
We are here in the case of Monique Cooley versus Jasmine Jackson, case number 23-09874PH. This hearing is being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on YouTube.
And today is the time and place set for an evidentiary hearing on whether or not the respondent, Ms. Jackson, violated a protective order protecting petitioner Ms. Cooley. So at this time, I'm going to invite Ms. McNabb to place your appearance on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. Lord McNabb on behalf of petitioner.
Very good. And Ms. Jackson, you're here without an attorney, so would you state and spell your full name for the record, please? And you're muted, Ms. Jackson.
Hello?
Now I can hear you. Go
Can
ahead
you hear
and
me?
your full name
I'm
for the
sorry.
record, please.
First name Jasmine, last name Jackson, Jasmine. Jackson, Jackson.
Very well. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. And the way the hearing will go today is Ms. McNabb is here from the prosecutor's office. She'll present
I'm
petitioner's
sorry,
case.
it's a little hard hearing.
Okay, I'll get a little closer to mine. Maybe I'll maybe make it a little louder.
I can hear now. Yeah.
Ms. McNabb will present petitioner's case. She's here from the Kent County Prosecutor's Office. She'll do that by calling witnesses. You will have a chance to ask any witnesses Ms. McNabb calls questions in a cross-examination type format, which usually are short, kind of yes or no type questions. And then you'll have the chance after Ms. McNabb presents witnesses to present any witnesses or testimony that you'd like to present. On your own behalf, you will be cross-examined by Ms. McNabb if you testify or if you put a witness on to testify. All that being said, Ms. McNabb, why don't you lead us off?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to call Ms. Cooley.
Very well, Ms. Cooley, would you raise your right hand?
Oh, and Ms. Cooley, you are muted.
Oh, yeah, you'll have to unmute. Thank you. Oh, you're still muted. There we go. You solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. You may proceed, Ms. McNabb.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, could you please state your name for the record?
My name is Monique Cooley. Just listen to this.
And Ms. Jackson, you're going to have to mute if you're going to talk at the same time or if you want to talk in the background. Otherwise, we'll hear you and it'll interfere with my recording of the hearing. So either you'll have to mute if you want to have conversations off the record or not have the conversation. So continue, Ms. McNabb.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Cooley, how do you know Ms. Jackson?
I know Ms. Jackson. She's been having an affair with my ex-husband, soon to be ex-husband. So she's been having an affair with him.
Okay. Do you have any relationship with her outside of that?
No, never.
Okay. Do you recall when you obtained a PPO, or did you obtain a PPO against her?
I did.
And do you recall when?
I retained it October, like the 4th of October.
Okay. If I told you the judge signed it on October 5th, does that sound right?
That does.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, was that PPO served on Ms. Jackson?
My friend tried to serve the PPO to her. And when she tried to serve it to her, I guess she tried to throw the PPO back to her and said, sent me a text message out the same day stating that she received the PPO and if I want to play foul, that she would I will be receiving my PPO in the mail. That's what she told me. So she was going to go get one on me. She texted me and told me that.
Based on your knowledge, Ms. Jackson had the PPO and was aware of it?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought she was talking to me. I apologize.
All right. Where are my notes? Okay. And what led you to apply for this PPO against Ms. Jackson?
She had been calling me numerous of times. She's been texting my phone. She rides past my house numerous of times. She's threatened me and my family. She told me that she had a gun and would do something to me and my family. So I felt that my life was in danger. And I felt that I needed the reason to go get me a personal protection order. She even told me that she wished that I had life insurance on me and my family.
Okay. And so when you were first getting these calls, how did you know that they were from Miss Jackson?
Like I said, my husband, I had a GPS tracker on him, and I didn't know who address it was at first. This girl is, I'm gonna go back. She assaulted me in Woodland Mall, and a situation happened. She fought me in Woodland Mall, and she tried to press charges when she was the aggressor. So they never even pursued charges on this case. So I didn't never know who she was. I never knew who this young girl was because she's a young girl, and so I had a GPS tracker on my husband, and it led me to that address. And I wanted to know who it was at the time. So I left my phone number inside of her door when I went over there. And she, from that time on, anytime, whatever situation they had going on, because I never even knew her, she's calling my phone nonstop, threatening him, threatening me. It's just got so out of hand that I had to be aware of my surroundings when I go places. I run into this girl. She's popping off at the mouth, ready to attack me, do different things. So I fear for my life. I fear for my life.
Okay. I want to talk to you about what happened on December 31st. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I remember that day clearly.
Okay. Can you tell me what happened that day?
I was at home and I received a text message I got 3 missed calls. I'm like, hello? She like, Nikki, this Jazz. I'm like, what do you want calling my phone? Quit calling me. There's no reason to call me. She like, yeah, she got to talking so much stuff. I called the police with her on the phone. She was like, I don't give a fuck about no PPO. Bitch, I'll kill you and your husband. She was on the phone saying this stuff while I merged the police in on the phone call. So then after that, I started receiving text messages. This young lady even sent me a picture of her having sex with my husband.
And what did those text messages say?
I'll read the text message to you right now. I see why you mad now. Go suck his dick, bitch. That bum ass nigga who steal for a living just was at the store stealing yesterday. That's who you love. Y'all both lame as hell. He a booster, stealing everything for them kids. Was just stealing that dicks yesterday. All them outfits you seen is a real dummy. I know you don't get niggas at all. That's why you got a son for a husband. I am done another year being a nigga doormat for you. Happy New Year. That's my nigga. I just gave him back. I was tired of him being at my house. I have it right here.
And then on what date did you receive that text?
I received that text December 31st.
Okay. Does Miss Jackson have any legitimate reason to contact you?
There's no reason you should contact me. I'm not your friend. I'm not nothing. I don't care what he got going on.
Just okay. And
excuse me, ma'am. I'm sorry. Will I have a chance to voice my opinion? I can still be patient. I'm just trying to wonder if I have a response or not.
Yep, you're going to have a response and a chance to ask any questions that you might have for Ms. Cooley.
Okay, thank you.
And Ms. Cooley, have you ever contacted Miss Jackson?
Like I said, I left my phone number inside her mailbox, and in her door. And when she talked to me on the phone, certain situations, because I didn't know that he was even having an affair with this girl. So when she called my phone before, but yeah, I had a conversation with her before prior. But when it got real serious to knowing that he was at home, then that's when all the text messages and just so like delusional stuff started coming to me. Like, this is like, she needs to be in Pine Rest, if you ask me.
Okay. And then have you contacted her directly or indirectly since this PPO has been in place?
No, I have no contact with that girl.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Very good. And Ms. Jackson, do you have any questions for Ms. Cooley?
I don't necessarily want to communicate with her. I would like to just voice my opinion when possible, or voice my
No, I'll
statement.
give you a chance to make a statement on the record when it's your turn to present your side of the case, but I got to get through Miss McNabb's case first. Miss McNabb, do you have any additional witnesses or evidence at this time?
I do not, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, now we'll move to you, Miss Jackson. I'm going to first swear you in, Miss Jackson. If you'd raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely nothing but the truth.
Very good. And Miss Jackson, go ahead and make your statement at this time, if you'd like.
Okay, Your Honor. First, I would just like to say it is very intimidating, very scary that this woman will manipulate the courts the way that she is, especially when I have so much evidence proving my case. I have never threatened this woman as far as, with a gun or her family or anything, you know what I mean? There's nothing that her family has done to me that would make me feel that I would have to get revenge or anything on her. Honestly, this situation is just a manipulation. I did send you a letter with a lot of evidence, excuse me. I'm not sure if you received it yet. I'm ready to show the evidence. Originally, I placed the PPO order on her. Adrian Cooley, this was back in May 15th, 2023. Monique came to my home on Sunday, May 14th, 2023. I have evidence, pictures to verify she was there. She caused a huge disturbance. Me and Mr. Cooley were asleep at my home. She came to my home distressed in boxers, in men boxers, in house shoes, and a t-shirt with no bra. I have evidence again to prove my story. She came to my home. She banged on my door.
What date are you saying that occurred on, Miss Jackson?
This occurred on May 14, 2023. There was a police report that was made as well for the disturbance. She came to my home. She was very aggressive. My neighbor next door had to step in to pretty much, stop everything from escalating. The police were called because she entered my home, and the police reported that she entered my home, but she exited before, the police arrived. Your Honor, I have this woman really trying to terrorize my life because Mr. Cooley, she cannot control the actions of Mr. Cooley. He's a grown man. I understand there had been an affair going on, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I'm not the only one who's overstepped boundaries, and I've always been single. I've never been married. So this has not been my issue. The only reason why this woman is continuing to try to pursue charges against me is because she is very upset about the situation. I have just had another police report that was filed on Sunday. I can give you the number. It's too early for me to give you the report, but I can give you the case number. This woman came to my home while she has a PPO on me, and she pretty much called the police to my home because she thought Mr. Cooley was here. There were 3 police officers that came to my home. I came outside to talk to them. They explained the situation. I have a live recording of the police officer telling me she told Miss Cooley, it does not look good for you to be on her premises when you have a PPO on her. Also, Your Honor, I just placed another police report for last Friday. Monique Cooley, her daughter, she has 2 daughters. I don't know their last name, Janiyah and Nevaeh. I have all type of verification. This is an open investigation. She drove these 2 young ladies over to my home to steal my surveillance camera on Friday because she felt like I would not be able to prove my evidence. I have a witness who, they saw her, they heard her voice. She did not get out of the car. But my neighbor, because she is familiar with Miss Cooley after everything that's occurred at my residence, she's told me that Miss Cooley drove these 2 young ladies over. They actually stole my surveillance camera. I have a open investigation going on. So what this woman is trying to do here is she is trying to assassinate my character because she does not like me based upon the situation, which I understand. I have never threatened her. I have never come to her home. She cannot provide any surveillance footage of me being at her home. I'm going to show you footage of her being at my home on multiple occasions. And it's to the point I'm afraid for my life. My son cannot play outside because this woman comes to my home on a regular basis. And for her to pretty much come to my home while she has a PPO on me is just to the point where I feel like I can't do anything. I feel defeated here, Your Honor. It is just not fair to me, the circumstances. I'm a college student. I'm also pursuing a small business. I have a child that I'm trying to take care of. I do not disturb this woman. I am not a violent person. I do not do any of these things. So if I can show you my proof that this woman has been harassing me and that she is the harasser, I can get to that right
Well,
now.
we're not gonna, because that would go more towards either taking away the PPO or second, that would support a PPO.
We
but-
have footage of her at my house right here, sir. This is one picture of her at my home.
Also, Your Honor, I would object to any surveillance footage as I have not been provided it and have not had a chance to review it.
This is another
Yeah,
footage of her.
You know, Ms. Jackson, at this time, because the issue is the question of whether or not you violated the one that's in favor of her. I'll hear your testimony that she is provoking this by showing up or trying to intimidate you on the other side, but I don't need to see the surveillance.
I understand.
Just testify and I'll weigh it.
I understand, Your Honors. I was never served a PPO. The woman that she claimed served me a PPO wrote on the court papers that she served me a PPO by Coach Lane, but my surveillance camera shows this woman at my house when I was not there. So I just feel like if she actually did come to my house, why would you lie? Because Miss Cooley drove her to my home. I caught them when I was leaving, when I was on my way home. I seen her parked on my premises, so she went out of her way to try to drive this woman to my home to serve me a PPO when that's a violation itself. You know, this woman is clearly playing games, and it's just very unfortunate.
Okay, all right. I think I have an understanding of where you're coming from. Ms. McNabb, do you have any questions for Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Ms. Jackson, did you send Ms. Cooley any text messages on December 31st?
Your Honor, I'm sorry. No, I did not. I'm not sure what type of game she's playing, how she got these text messages or so. I have a phone number that I can't verify the text message that was sent, but anytime I text her, ma'am, it was just at the time when me and Mr. Cooley were going through our differences, and since she was harassing me so much, I was reaching out, telling her like, hey, can you please get your husband? He's back over here. I don't want you to be coming to my home. So I was contacting her, but I guess she was already in the process of being done with him. So everything that I was doing was agitating her. I've never caught her phone harassing her. I don't own a gun. I've never, I don't know why she would lie in court like this. This is really insane to me.
Okay, so the text message that Ms. Cooley read out loud, you're saying that you didn't send that?
That is absolutely false, ma'am. I've never talked like that before. Me and her have had arguments, but I have never texted her those words, and I don't know how she can prove that that's me, but I can assure you, right hand to God, that I have not texted her those things.
And have you texted her or called her at all since the PPO was in place?
I was not aware when the PPO was in place because, again, it was never served. But when I did speak to her at whenever time, she did inform me, like, you're not supposed to be calling me. I have a PPO, and I'm like, okay, I'll leave her alone. I just wanted to let you know that he has been back over here, and I don't want you to come disturbing me. So I'm letting you know, just as communicating. I've never harassed her. So this is very disappointing to be going through this situation.
Okay, I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, and I do not have any follow-up questions either. So thank you. Unless Ms. Jackson, there's additional testimony you'd like to give at this time.
I do not.
Okay, then you may step down from the witness stand. Any additional witnesses or evidence you'd like to present, Ms. Jackson? And I did not receive your letter yet or the attached evidence, so I haven't reviewed that in connection with today's hearing. It sounds like most of that goes towards it might support a protective order on your behalf.
It was denied. I actually tried, and
Okay.
for some reason they denied it, and I'm going to try again.
Well, and sometimes with a protective order, I can tell you it's as straightforward as Michigan law does not allow what we call reciprocal protective orders, and that I can't say, well, one on you and one on her. You have to have a separate basis for it. But if you send in the evidence, then I'll consider that like I consider all of the submissions.
Well, farewell. Will do, because I have to be safe as well, sir.
All right. Then I think we're to the time for a closing statement. Ms. McNabb.
Actually, Your Honor, would I be permitted to call Ms. Cooley as a rebuttal witness? Just briefly?
You may. Ms.
Okay.
Cooley, you do remain under oath. You may take the stand again.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Cooley, you've heard Ms. Jackson's testimony, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and she alleges that you were at her home on Sunday. Were
I
you near
never-
her?
I was never near her home
There's
Sunday.
a police report with it in it. I just
Ma'am,
want you to
I'm
know.
talking, ma'am.
Hey,
I'm talking,
let her
ma'am.
go.
There's a police report, so before you lie, just be honest.
I'm talking, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep, you'll get a
So-
chance to ask her questions again.
Did you
Ms.
recently go anywhere near her home?
So I told you Monday, I went over to her home, went over to Wingate Apartments. Never did I go to her home. I called the authorities on my ex-husband. And that's when I called the police and went towards that way with the police.
It was my premises.
Against my husband. She has nothing to do with nothing.
It was my premises. My premises. He was here. It
Nobody
my
was never
premises.
near your premises.
Okay,
Okay,
You
hang
was.
on, Ms.
Your
Jackson.
premises.
I'll give you a chance to ask questions.
I'm sorry, sir. She's just lying and it's not fair. We're on court. How are you
This
lying?
girl
Have a
is
police report.
delusional.
Verify
She
it.
has
Hang on, we can only have one
She
person
is
talk at a
crazy.
time.
Okay, sir. You're right, Your
I'll-
Honor.
Yep, I'll have you hold off, Ms. Jackson, but I'll give you a chance to ask questions after Ms. McNabb's finished with her questions.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. McNabb.
and Miss Cooley, why did you call the police?
I called the police because my ex-husband took some expensive belongings from my home. I was taking my niece to Wingate Apartments to apply for an application. And when I got towards that way, I synced his car there. So I called the police while I was at Wingate Apartments, and the police came towards that direction.
They knocked on my
Because
door.
I'm not talking to you.
They knocked
Okay,
on my door, Your Honor.
So you were not there to have any, you were not there with anything having to do with Miss Jackson?
No, I never went to her premises, ma'am. This girl
Okay.
is making up a whole delusional story.
The police report will verify this is pretty scary. You want to lie like this.
Girl,
Hang
shut the
on,
Hey.
I'm gonna give you a chance, Ms. Jackson.
It's just crazy, you know? It's crazy, Your
Ms.
Honor.
Jackson,
You know?
I'm gonna need to mute you though, if you keep kind of cutting into the testimony, because all this gets recorded and it becomes part of the record in case either side wants to appeal my decision at the end. So I only can have one person talk at a time.
Fair enough. I apologize.
You
And,
may continue, Ms. McNabb.
and Miss Cooley, how do you know that Miss Jackson's the one who sent you those text messages?
She called me from the number 50 times.
Okay,
She
And which-
called me from the number, and not only that, she texted me the stuff. I had her on the phone with the police. I merged her in with the police talking on the phone.
okay, and you recognized her voice?
I know her voice, yes.
Okay,
She's
how
done
many-
called me a million times. She's delusional.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Okay, and Ms. Jackson, do you have any questions that you would like to ask Ms. Cooley at this time?
Your Honor, I just want to say Miss Cooley did not actually come to my door, but she was in my parking lot. I have a parking lot, and the police did not allow me to pretty much even leave my home. She was on my premises.
Lying.
And I have a video of the officer who she, spoke with, and the officer just pretty much confirmed. She said, I did inform Miss Cooley that it doesn't look good for her to be at your house on your premises when she has a PPO on you. Those were her exact words, and I can verify that. I can verify that.
Okay, any other questions, Ms. Jackson?
Nope.
All right, any further, Ms. McNabb?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, then, thank you, Ms. Cooley. You may step down from the witness stand. Any rebuttal or additional witnesses at this time, Ms. Jackson? Ms. Jackson, any additional witnesses?
I don't have any present as now. I didn't know if I would need them right now, but I do have relatives. I have family who is very familiar with this situation. So, if that's a future thing, I will have them, but as of now, no.
Okay, all right. Well, then I think we're to the time for the closing statement, Ms. McNabb.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Cooley has testified that she received several calls from Ms. Jackson on December 31st. She has testified that she recognized her voice on the other end because she had heard her voice over the phone many times. And she has testified that she received that threatening text message from the same number that called her.
She was just at my house March
oh.
8th. She was just at my house March 8th with clothes. I have her on camera with her face.
That's not me. That doesn't show my face,
Hang on,
like it shows yours.
Ms.
We're not
McNabb
talking to you.
is speaking now. Let's let Ms. McNabb make her closing statement, and then you're going to be able to make one, Ms. Jackson, and then we'll be finished.
And Ms. Cooley has also testified this has been ongoing and continuous harassment. I believe the court should find her testimony as credible. and find that Ms. Jackson has at the very least violated the PPO once, if not more than once. Mrs. Cooley has explained why she was in the vicinity of Ms. Jackson's home on Monday. That had nothing to do with Ms. Jackson, that she was doing something for her niece, and there was a dispute between her and her husband. So the court should not take that into consideration. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Jackson. You're muted, Ms. Jackson. You'll have to unmute, or I'll have to unmute you. There we go.
Okay, Your Honor, I just last would like to say, it is not a thing on her ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband. If the police come to my home and actually knock on my door, there were 3 police officers she sent to my home because she seen his vehicle at my house. If you ask me, that is a form of harassment. If you're driving past and you have a PPO on me and I have been violated by contacting you, and you just notice your husband's car and you send him to my home and you're parked on the corner of my house speaking with the police about the situation, it's harassment, it's manipulation. And I just feel like, how can I possibly live my life in peace with this woman antagonizing me on a regular basis, Your Honor? I have no problem minding my business. I'm not confrontational. I don't have enemies. This woman has done so much to me. But like I said, I am in school. I don't have time to just sit here and document every little thing until it came down to this right here. I have the police report verifying that she was not at Wingate, that she was on my premises. If I'll be able to provide that, you'll be able to see that I'm not making the situation up. This was just a manipulation, because she was upset about him being at my home.
Okay. All right. Well, I have heard the testimony today. There haven't been any documents that were introduced into evidence on this matter. And the question is can I determine beyond a reasonable doubt that text messages sent on December 31st of last year, that is 2023, were from Respondent Ms. Jackson, and second, that those messages violate the personal protective order at this time. And Miss Jackson has denied that those were from her. However, the testimony from Miss Cooley has been, well, I recognized her voice on the phone, and thus I knew it was her calling me. In addition, there were an allegation that there were some text messages here following the calls, including one that Miss Cooley has testified to, was in sexual nature involving her soon-to-be ex-husband, Mr. Cooley. I will note that Mr. Cooley is at the midst of this dispute, and of course is not here today testifying in either things. It strikes me that sometimes in these cases, a man is the root of the trouble, and the man somehow misses out on these proceedings, even though he may be as much at fault regarding both parties as certainly anyone else involved in the case. But that being as it is, I still do have a protective order in place that protects Miss Jackson Miss Cooley. And I will find at this time that there has been evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that those text and or calls on that date, December 31st, prove that Miss Jackson did violate the protective order. Now, I'm not going to impose any jail time or fines as part of the sentencing. What I'm going to do, Miss Jackson, is I'll send you a letter indicating that you need to go down to the Kent County Sheriff's Department and get fingerprinted because I have found that you violated the order. And I will tell you, if you violate it again, and that would be by either being, any of the violations. You can't be at her property. You can't text her. You can't call her. You can't go from an unknown number. But I mean, if you're sending a picture that's sexual in nature that you would be the only one that might have the possession of, logically, she's going to determine and probably be able to convince me that that was from you and be able to bring you into court here again. And next time, I certainly, having had you fingerprinted this time, might consider putting you in jail, though I'm not going to do that this time. On the flip side, I will caution that no matter how irritated Ms. Cooley is with her ex and, maybe stealing stuff, and sounds like he certainly is adept at, kind of playing the two women involved in this matter off against each other, that nonetheless, the protective order, when it's in place, is intended to be a shield. That is, it protects you, but it's not a sword. It doesn't give you a blank check to do whatever you want with regard to Miss Jackson. And so, I would agree with, what was alleged to be a police officer's statement today that, that you shouldn't probably be over on her property. If you need to call the police and you think that's where your ex might be and might be located, well, you certainly, usually, I don't find that police contact and calling the police is usually a good basis for a protective order. And that's because when the police officers do arrive, it's not direct contact between the other person and the respondent or whatever. It is, the police officers exercise their own discretion when they get to a scene and investigate. So, it may be that the police get called because there are legal proceedings. There's a divorce case apparently and others ongoing between Miss Cooley and her soon-to-be ex-husband. And, he seems to be kind of drifting maybe between two different locations, maybe more, where he is staying, and certainly seems to be playing a role in this. And acknowledging that, and there's no way that a protective order orders the two of you to be friends or to have a good communicating relationship with each other. I don't expect that to happen. However, I do expect both of you to kind of, I say it's like the referee in a boxing ring where he, says to the two boxers, each of you go into your own corner, neutral corner, and stay there. Don't recommence the fight until, don't recommence the fight. How about that? But definitely not while the protective order is in place, because while it's in place, at least with regard to you, Ms. Jackson, you are correct in your assessment that it isn't fair. You're you're the respondent. You've got everything to lose. Whereas you'd have to convince me, on the flip side, that Ms. Cooley was more to blame than you were. If an incident did happen, your safest course of action to protect your studies and your life that you're building entirely separate, it appears to be, from Ms. Cooley, is just stay out of sight and out of contact with her. And even if you get angry at Mr. Cooley, I don't know if he's still involved, but do not use Miss Cooley as a way to reach him. You got to figure out a way to get to him directly if that's still an issue between the two of you. I don't have to decide that today, but don't use her as the go-between because of the existence of this protective order. So I'll send you a letter. It'll give you a couple Saturday mornings when you can go down to that sheriff's department. I say to people when they do that, take a look. You're only going down there for a visit. You're not going to jail. There's nothing criminal about it. This is a civil case. You're just giving your fingerprints. However, if I do find you in violation and order you to go to jail after a hearing, that's where you'll wind up, and it'll be for several nights, as punishment for violating the court's order. I'm not doing that at this time. Most people take the warning the first time and say, you know what, I don't want to spend any more time than I have to here at the Kent County Jail or with the Kent County Sheriff's Department, and don't have any problems. But the order does remain in place, and I will caution both parties to continue to observe the order. And as I said, it is a shield and not a sword. So that is the conclusion of today's hearing. I will thank both parties for appearing by video today, arguing your case, and also participating in this. I haven't seen, as I said, your evidence, but I will review it if it comes in, Ms. Jackson. And if you've applied for a protective order, I do consider each one of those as they come in individually. If you can support one, you may be able to qualify as well. But in any case, what the court process indicates to me is that you're both willing to go through this legal process, even though it's slow and not always very satisfying, as a way to defend your protect your rights and protect yourself, rather than taking it in person or via each other's families to each other, things like that. That's exactly what protective orders are designed to do, is to get people into court and not coming to blows with each other in the street. So you're both respecting that process, and I'm grateful for that. I will send out the follow-up orders, and with that, we're concluded.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Wow. That guy definitely has a type. They look very similar. But it's kind of funny that, they continue to want to fight each other, but neither of them want the man anymore, it sounds like. The new girlfriend, maybe. He may still be in and out of her life, but I get the feeling that they were kind of done with him, but they just want to continue to fight each other because neither of them wants the other to win. So they're going to continue fighting. And what they really need is a judge like Judge Hayward that would really tell them, she gives such great lectures, but she would do a great job telling them what's what and that this is stupid, and getting them to see how stupid this is. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.